Hello everyone, welcome to Bible Bites. Good to have your company once again. Our question for today follows on a little bit from our previous video, and it is, why is going to church important? Remember, in our last video we touched on worship and whether it was a sin to work on a Sunday, and we ended by saying that worship should form a part of our lives in every day, not just on a Sunday. But that leads on to the question, why is going to church or a church service important? Because unfortunately in this age, a lot of people are turning away from corporate church worship and worshipping by themselves or just worshipping at home, particularly after COVID, when people got very comfortable with in-home worship. As well, technology. In an age where a worship experience is just a click away on our phones or our computers or television screens, the question needs to be asked, do Christians actually need church fellowship anymore? When you look at the practices of the very early church, though, they didn't just meet once a week. They met daily, and you can read that in Acts 2:46. But attendance at a church fellowship isn't just a suggestion from God. It is God's will for believers. Hebrews 10:25 records that we should not forsake the assembling of ourselves together. You see, even in the early church, some were falling into the bad habit of not meeting with other believers. But the author of Hebrews, which we believe is Paul, says that's not the way to approach our spiritual walk. We need the encouragement that church attendance affords. And the imminent return of Jesus Christ at the rapture should prompt us even more to be devoted to meeting in fellowship. You see, going to church is more than just listening to a few songs and hearing a boring sermon, as some might proclaim. Church fellowships are the places where believers can love one another, encourage one another, spur one another on to love and good works, serve one another, instruct one another, honor one another, and show kindness and compassion to one another. Who wouldn't want to be involved in something like that? You see, when a person trusts Jesus Christ for salvation, he or she is made a member of the body of Christ. And just like with our own bodies, for a church body to function properly, all of its body parts, so to speak, need to be present and working. But in saying that, it's not enough just to attend a worship service. We should be involved in some type of ministry to others, using the spiritual gifts that God has given us. You see, a believer will never reach full spiritual maturity without having that outlet for his or her gifts. And in order to properly exercise those gifts, we need the assistance, we need the encouragement of other believers around us. Now, for these reasons and more, church attendance, participation, and fellowship should be regular aspects of a believer's life. Now, weekly church attendance is in no sense required for believers, but someone who belongs to Christ should have a desire to worship God, receive his word, and most importantly, fellowship with others who are like-minded.